page 128 in the middle. Yedid nefesh v'rachaman, Yedid nefesh v'rachaman, Mishachav Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to be here with you this evening, and it is just me this evening. Rabbi is off in Southern California enjoying being a dad and a grandpa, and some much needed and well-deserved family time this weekend. But it's really nice to be here with you all, and on a personal level, I got a new glasses prescription this week. So when I say it is nice to see you all, I really, really mean it. It's very nice to see you all this evening. And it's almost a good enough prescription for me to see those of you joining us at home, not quite, but I know that you're there, and I'm so glad that you are joining us for our services tonight for Shabbat. So with that, I'd love to invite up Naomi and maybe Lucas, hopefully Lucas will come too, to lead us in lighting the Shabbat candles. Why don't you grab that microphone and turn it on?
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us.
As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
Hopefully that's the one that works. There we go.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu l'chad likner shel Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech ha'olam, asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehad likner shel Shabbat. Thank you so much. Why don't you wish somebody nearby a Shabbat Shalom? We'll continue with welcoming Shabbat on page 130. These words, Lechu neranena, come, let us sing to God. Ooh, 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 ooh. Lechu neranena, Adonai nariya, Litzur yish'enu, Litzur yish'enu. 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 Nikadma fanav v'toda bizmirot nariya lo. Nikadma fanav v'toda bizmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranena, Adonai nariya, Litzur yish'enu, Litzur yish'enu. Lechu neranena, Adonai nariya, Litzur yish'enu, Litzur yish'enu. Nikadma fanav v'toda bizmirot nariya lo. Nikadma fanav v'toda bizmirot nariya lo. Lechu neranena, Adonai nariya, Litzur yish'enu, Litzur yish'enu. Lechu neranena, Adonai nariya, Litzur yish'enu, Litzur yish'enu. Ooh, 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 ooh. Join together on page 138 as we greet the Shabbat bride, L'chadodi. L'chadodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat dekabela. L'chadodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat dekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Emanu-El hameyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, l'shem u'tiferet v'litila. L'chadodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat dekabela. L'chadodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat dekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, ki v'kor ha'beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. L'chadodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat dekabela. L'chadodi likrat kalai, alalai, 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 b'nei Shabbat dekabela. Hitoreri, hitoreri, ki vorech kumi uri, 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 shir. Shabbat nekabela lechadodi likrat kalai yalalai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. All right, there's a mosquito who'd like to celebrate Shabbat with us. Now that we've welcomed the Shabbat bride, we turn to page 142 and greet the angels in our midst. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Boachem Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Baruchuni l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzedchem l'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei Hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai 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 Lai, Yai Lai HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 146, please rise for Baruch Hu. Join together at the top of page 149. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity You set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro mariv aravim asher הזמנים ומסדר את הכוכבים במשמרותיהם ברקיע כרצונו קורא יום בלילה כולל אור מפני חושך וחושך מפני אור ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני המריב ערבים. We join together at the bottom of 151. Wisdom and wonder, passion and instruction, story and symbol, all these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What could be a truer token of your abiding love than this holiest of your works and the living language that gives it form? Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Please be seated. And join with me in Ve'ahavta on the next page. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'otecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha Hayom al levavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shochbecha uv'kumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha. וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם Me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'Elohim, ani Adonai Elohechem. You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Thus you shall remember to observe all my commandments and to be holy to your God. I am Adonai, your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt to be your God. I am Adonai, your God. Together on the top of page 157, standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. Page 158. Who is like you, Adonai? Who is like you, page 160 and 161. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Ashkiven Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu l'shalom. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu l'shalom. Hashkivenu, Adonai Eloheinu, Hashkivenu l'shalom. And as we turn to the next page for these words of Vishamru, I wanted to take a quick pause this Shabbat, and I'll talk a little bit more about this later on in the service. But it's this week that we actually find these words of Vishamru in the Torah. And sometimes we'll sing these words, we'll be a little boisterous, and we'll sing that fun Rothblum setting of this text that reminds us of the sacredness of this day of Shabbat. But sometimes you might notice that I chant a very simple chant of these words. And I'm about to do that this evening, but I want to draw your attention to the translation. Just as I chant, try to follow along as best you can and see if you might hear a bit of text painting in the way that these words are set, in the way that I sing them. You might hear a little bit of the grandeur of the heavens, or hopefully at the end you feel that refresh. We'll talk a little bit more about that word in a little bit. V'shameru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam, berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Uvayom hashvi'i Shavat vayinafash. Turn to the next page and rise for our Amidah. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avoteinu ve'imotenu. Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, הגדול, הגדול, הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש. Please be seated. Join together on page 173 at the top. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 175. You are with us in our prayer, our love, and our doubt, in our longing to feel your presence and do your will. You are the still, clear voice within us. Therefore, O God, when doubt troubles us, when anxiety makes us tremble, when pain clouds the mind, we look inward for the answer to our prayers. There may we find you, and there find courage, insight, and endurance. And let our worship bring us closer to one another, that all Israel and all who seek you may find new strength for your service. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha b'yir'ah na'avod. Let's join together at the top of 177. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lehodot. Take just a bit of time now for whatever prayers are left in our hearts or on our minds. We'll just take a few moments of our own silent prayer. shalom. Bimroma, hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Alleluia. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. May the one who makes peace bring peace down, bring peace down. Oh, say shalom. Bimroma. Oh, say shalom. Bimroma. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Hallelujah. Now that we've sung this prayer of peace or shalom, we think of those in our lives who are in need of wholeness or shalem. We're thinking of Sally Armandries, Hannah Bat Miriam, Eliana Bat Hannah, Bob Bell, Robert Berg, Arnold Berliner, Sandy Beinstock, Barry Brown, Rich Burns, Richard Buriesi, Esther Burton, Dr. Edward Kahn, Ruth Kahn, Chu Chi, Sandra Cohen, Deanna Courtwright, Bunny Fisher, Carolyn Franklin, Holly Fugit, Marcia Gieser, Marina Gaffney, Sharon Jenkin, Harry Glaze, Charlene Griffin, Ted Guglin, Olivia Hand, Linda Harris, Dr. Gary Height, Jesse Jessen, Jenny Johnson, Mimi Jones, Rosie Gurman, Melissa Katz, Evelyn Katz McCosker, Deborah Lanning, Shirley Lerner, Carol Lesage, Lois Lieberman, Lior Botginya, David Ledwitz, Litia Leos, Bobby Lotman, Austin Lucero, Janice Lucero, Gerald Maddox, Ellen McCaslin, Kathy McElwee, Sid Melbourne, Vivian Cooper Moore, Gunther Myberg, Brad Parkins, Gabrielle Pollock, Stephanie Rasmussen, Linda Rogers, Gordon Robinson, Laura Danoff Robinson, Devon Ross, Dolores Sams Hoy, Harriet Saltzman, Gary Sanders, Laura Sanders, Malachi Saracen, Donna Shine, Amy Stavis, Eileen Sweet, Donna Thyman, Pham Thai Trang, Gina Thrower, Kara Thayer, Steve Umeki, Teresa Walsh, Jean Watson, Marty Weisberg, Nancy Weisenfeld, Sue Winton, Sherman Wong, Yaakov Ben Ada, Brandon Yarkin, Yosef Ben Rivka Ve'akiva, Madison Zales, and everyone who is suffering from coronavirus. We also add to the list this week, we're thinking of our preschool turtle, Shelley, who's also on the list, who hasn't been so well. So we're wishing Shelley the turtle a refuah shlema too. And if there's anybody who was not mentioned this evening, but who you are thinking of tonight, I invite you to please raise your hand to mention their name. With that, we join together in words of healing, Misha Berach Lecholim. Mi sheberach avoteinu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. 371. Misheberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. I actually wanted to talk a little bit about renewal, this idea of renewal this evening. So it was a nice segue. So thank you to Debbie Friedman for that. So this week's Torah portion is Ki Tisa, and we've been setting up the tabernacle for the past few weeks. There's been a lot of checklists of things to do, exactly how it needs to look, what materials need to go into it. So there's a little bit more about that this week. And there is the story of the golden calf, which is, I think, probably one of the more famous stories out of the Torah. But I let you know a little earlier that I wanted to focus in on this text of Vishamru. We get some laws about observing Shabbat, and in it, this paragraph that I chanted a little while ago, that we often will chant when we get together and do Kiddush. That's kind of the traditional time that you chant it together to remind us of the holiness of this day of Shabbat, and the covenant between us and God in keeping Shabbat. But I wanted to focus in on that last word, vayinafash, and it's translated as God was refreshed, or God was restored, or God rested sometimes, which I think is a little bit of an erroneous translation. And we're going to hear why from a couple of commentators. So maybe if you know a little bit of Hebrew and you know some root words, maybe you're kind of getting where I'm going with this. But here's Rashi. Every form of nefesh is derived from the noun nefesh, or soul. So vayinafash, nefesh, it's the same root from the word soul. The idea is that one calms his soul and takes breath when one reposes after the toil of labor. So that's Rashi's take on the use of this word in this text and what it means to rest, or calm your soul on Shabbat after a week of work. Another commentator, Sforno, says, vayinafash, this is why the seventh day was devoted to the nefesh, the spirit, resulting in God giving Jews an additional soul for use on that day. This additional soul assists us in concentrating on the spiritual dimension of the day. When man was created, God made him in his image, first and foremost concerned with spiritual concerns. The extra soul granted us on the Sabbath is to help us live up to that vision God had of man when God created him. So a little food for thought there. I think probably we mostly think about Shabbat as the day of rest. When we rest, we do something, maybe we do something enjoyable, maybe we kick our feet up after a long week. But I wanted to ask you, I wanted to open it up to discussion tonight. Do you feel that there's a difference in resting and being refreshed, or if we're going to use this word nefesh, kind of literally resouled, not your shoes, but your soul, resouled? And what do you do on Shabbat that restores your soul? And if you haven't found something yet, what maybe is there something that you could try or that you're interested in or that you think might get you to this place, this more restorative place than simply resting? So any thoughts, this idea and this word with this root nefesh or soul? Shannon. Yeah, and that ties in a little bit, being outdoors. Rabbi asked last week, where do you feel God's presence? As we're building this idea of building the tabernacle, building our sanctuary, where do you feel God kind of dwelling? So maybe there's a connection for you in feeling some sort of presence of God and feeling that restoration of the soul. Really nice. Any other thoughts? Yeah, so a practice of gratitude after kind of absorbing all the mishigas of the rest of the week and being able to just kind of push that out, take that breath. Also, nefesh can be breath. So there's a connection between breath and soul, which is interesting too. Steve. Yeah, so being connected with people who are going to help restore your soul after a long week. Nice. Any other thoughts? Anyone feel like they could maybe be better at making this distinction between rest and restoration? I think we all can probably agree to that. You know, come home after a long day and put your feet up and watch something on TV, and maybe you take your mind off of something for a while, but you haven't quite disconnected whatever it is that you need to do. I think there's an aspect of mindfulness that we can all incorporate when we do really want to feel that restoration. And it sounds really great different examples of that too. So if you're looking for something, you have some suggestions of practices to try. And I really do encourage us to find that distinction between resting and being restored. And I think it can be challenging in this really fast-paced, instant gratification world that we live in. But we should make taking care of our soul a priority, because clearly we're much better people when we're refreshed or restored, and we have so much more to offer and more capacity to do good in the world and to support one another when we are our full restored selves, when our souls are feeling whole. So thank you, just a brief discussion, but I hope it gives you something to think about for the rest of Shabbat and maybe a future Shabbat, to develop whatever practice is meaningful for you, to find that refresh. And with that, I would love to invite up Steve Crandell, our president, to deliver some announcements.
The best part is I get to take off the mask. Shabbat Shalom. I'm Steve Crandell. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I'd like to welcome you to Temple Emanu-El and our Erev Shabbat services led by Cantor Shafritz. After services, join us in the foyer for Kiddush and Hamotzi. Our oneg is sponsored by Yvonne Nemec in memory of her Aunt Lucy. On Tuesday, Rabbi will hold his weekly Zoom chat at noon. On Wednesday at noon, join the Rabbi in person or on Zoom for his Lunch and Learn Torah style. Next Friday will be our Shabbat at Home service on Zoom at 6:30 p.m. Our community period equity drive continues. Please donate generously to our bins to help JFS and Sacred Heart Community Services support menstruating people so that they can go to school and work with confidence. Check online for further information, including ways to order online. Purim is coming soon, and our confirmation class will be putting together awesome Mishloach Manot for all members. Please look for information online regarding sponsorship and selecting pickup versus delivery. Also, save the date for Rock Shabbat on March 11th and expanded onegs. I'm going to go off script for a second, talk about Rock Shabbat. We really want to make this a big event on March 11th. We want to see if we can get everybody to bring somebody new. So if you have friends, Jewish or not, bring them. It's a fun event. My understanding, I've heard through the grapevine, that there may be a heavy Beatles theme in this Rock Shabbat. So we're going to try to push this in the community, but make a goal to bring somebody. With that, Shabbat Shalom. Stay healthy.
Aleinu is on page 586. Please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula le'yotzer breshit, shehu note shamayim v'yosed aretz, u'moshav yikaro b'shamayim himal, u'shchinatu zo begovhei meromim, u'Eloheinu ein od. Va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim, u'modim, lifnei melech, malchei hamlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. V'nemar, v'haya Adonai, lemelech al kol haaretz, Bayom hahu, yiyeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. We turn our thoughts now to friends and loved ones who are no longer with us. In particular, we remember this week during the period of Shiva, former president of our congregation, Corinne Ravel, mother of Mike Ravel. We are in the Shloshim, the period of 30 days of mourning for Reuben Wargon, David Berg, and Curtis Cage. We are in the first year of mourning. I apologize, I forgot to say, it's our custom to rise upon hearing the name of your loved one. We're in the first year of mourning for James Atlas, Leon Avrick, Brenda Bausch, Pauline Anderson Berkowitz, Carol Bitter, Denise Blue, Hy Birdman, Phyllis Birdman, Mary Cage, Roy Robert Creech, Alexander Cunningham, Norman Deshotsky, Carol Everett, Mervyn Feinstein, Alan Garshon, Lubov Gatzes, Richard Gersten, Charles Green, Cirillo Guerra, Estella Guerra, Phil Hammer, Judy Fisher Harrington, Deborah Katzman, Kevin Krieger, Hal Lax, Maxine Mutnick, Michael Meltzer, Barry Miller, Roberta Stivelman Newman, Patricio Orozco, Richard Peterson, Len Pomerantz, Colin Powell, Arlene Ravel, Steve Reese, Stanley Rosen, Betty Rossman, Joe Russo, Jane Sargent, Rosalind Schwartz, Arnold Schaffritz, Marilyn Siller, Kit Snyder, Marty Weisblatt, Millie Wolfson, Lucy Young, and Laura Ziffer. And remembering the yahrzeits of those whose deaths fall at this season. For Bertha Aft Crawford, Hilda Ale, Harold Leroy Barnes, Irene Bernard, Molly Bloomstein, May Brash, Yetta Broder, Robert Brody, Betty Burton, Sissy Carl, William Nelson Davenport II, Sidney B. Davis, Sandy Davis, Molly Dorff, Alice Emmerich, Irving Friedman, Joseph Garshon, Sadie Gizong, Sylvia Goldberg, Frida Braun Goldine, Helene Graff, Gerald Grayson, Irma Hartfield, Anna Hirsch, Sophie Koppel, Irving Kotlier, Flossie Crandell, Robert Crandell, Violet Landers, Herbert Lee, Mary Samuels Levy, Ethel Migdal, Albert Miller, Sam Mintzer, Vernon Nanaman, Lorelda Pearson, Sandra Plavin, Charles Polanski, Miriam Rowan Resnick, Isidore Rosenthal, Martin Rudy, Helene Rutansky, Norman Saul, Esther Schneider, Noah Shipman, Davienne Sklar, Molly Schrag, Arnold Schulman, Sidney Silverman, Leonard Taylor, Alan Weinstein, and Sophia Yampolsky. We all rise as a community in solidarity with those who are mourning, and for those who have no one left to say Kaddish Yatom. We join together on page 598. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayechon uv'yomechon, uv'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru, Amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam u'lomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'it hadar, v'it ale, v'it halal, shemei de kudsha, brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush bechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehe shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim alenu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu yaseh shalom alenu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yishvei tevel v'imru, Amen. May their memories always be for a blessing. We say together once more, Amen. Please be seated. We'll close this evening with those words of peace we just recited together, Oseh Shalom, set to music by the wonderful Debbie Friedman of blessed memory. Oseh Shalom, Imroma, Huya Aseh Shalom, Aleinu, Ve'al Kol Yisrael, Ve'imeru, Amen. Oseh Shalom b'Roma, Hu yaseh Shalom aleinu ve'al kol Shabbat Shalom. Please join us in the foyer or vestibule, I don't know what we call it, the foyer for Kiddush and Motzi and some grab and go nosh. Shabbat Shalom.